solve the inequality and then give the solution set in interval notation. We have the absolute value of 1 minus 4x, which is greater than 2. So here is our absolute value inequality. We have the absolute value isolated on the left side. We have a constant isolated on the right side. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and then write down what is the definition of when you have the absolute value of an expression and it's greater than a constant. So remember, the definition states the following. That means that we have x, which is going to be less than negative k, or x is greater than positive k. So let's go ahead and rewrite this absolute value inequality. So we have the expression, which is 1 minus 4x, and that's going to be less than negative 2, or we have 1 minus 4x, which is going to be greater than positive 2. So in the next part of the question, they want us to fill that in. So we know it's not A, we know it's not B, we know it's not D, therefore it is C. So again, we had 1 minus 4x, which is, in this case, greater than positive 2, or 1 minus 4x, which is less than negative 2. So let's check our answer, and there is our result. So now let's go back and then solve this inequality. So we have our two inequalities. So the first thing we're going to do is subtract 1 to both sides. So here we have negative 4x, which is less than negative 1 minus 2, negative 2 minus 1, which is negative 3. And now we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. Now remember that when you divide or multiply by a negative number, we're going to flip this inequality. So therefore we're going to get x, which is now going to be greater than a negative 3 divided by a negative 4 is positive 3/4. Okay, and then over here, we're going to subtract 1 to both sides. So we end up with negative 4x, which is greater than 2 minus 1, which is positive 1. And again, we're dividing both sides by a negative 4, which means we need to flip this inequality. And so therefore, x is going to be less than negative 1/4. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and graph this solution set. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to graph. We know that we're going to go from negative infinity to positive infinity. And then we have negative 1/4. And then we have positive 3/4. And so what's happening according to our interval? We know x is greater than 3/4. So that means we have a parenthesis, and it's going towards positive infinity. And then we have x is less than negative 1/4, which means that we have a parenthesis, and it's going towards the left here. So then our solution is going to be the following. We have parenthesis negative infinity, comma, negative 1/4, union 3/4, comma, positive infinity. Let's go ahead and put that in there. So we have parenthesis negative infinity, comma, negative 1/4 with a parenthesis, union, parenthesis, and that was 3/4. So we have 3/4, comma, infinity with a parenthesis. Let's check our answer, and there is our result.